So cultural competency is this idea, first, when we talk about it in terms of it being a discipline, it is a discipline that says that we have to develop and acquire skills that allow us to recognize the humanity of another person outside of the culture that we see ourselves as being a predominant player in, so that we can effectively serve and interact with other people. And one of the ways that this happens, or the primary way that this happens, is through a brain-body connection. And so what does brain-body connection mean in this context? It means first going down to the foundation of what competency is. And it is first a personal attribute one has to have, and it starts with self-awareness. And self-awareness is the idea that I'm aware of my emotions, I'm aware of my values, I'm aware of my beliefs, I'm aware of my behaviors, and I'm aware of my strengths and areas that challenge me, and I'm willing to be self-reflective. And that self-reflectiveness means that I'll do self-assessment so that I can show up and be a more effective human being, and working with other persons and other people whom I hope to interact with and to serve. Then the other component of cultural competency within this context is self-management. Am I willing to regulate myself? Am I willing to take on the work of being aware when I'm triggered, aware when I'm having thoughts, and showing up with behaviors that may not, or may inhibit me, if you will, from interacting with other people in a successful way that would enable both of us, or all of us, if you will, to effectively achieve our goals. And then there's the social awareness piece. And the social awareness piece says this. It says, will I practice, do I practice having empathy and understanding for others who are different from me? And then the last component of this is being able to make responsible decisions. And responsible decision making in this context is, am I willing to make ethical, constructive choices for my personal behavior and for social behavior in terms of how I interact with other people? The brain-body connection in all of this is always communicating interactively. If something's happening in my brain, if something's happening in my body, there are signals that are going off. And when those signals go off, the question is will I slow down and begin to ask myself questions rather than moving into judgment and perception that could be erroneous? And the way that we know this is that oftentimes when we are interacting or coming into contact with cultures that are different from ours, cultures that we may not understand, is that we make judgments. And most often we have a body reaction, and then we have a thing called a stress thought. And that stress thought says, this is different, I don't like it, I have a problem, this is a problem. And as soon as I move into that kind of thinking, I start judging and I start developing bias practices. And when I develop bias practices, I'm not being reflective, and I'm not being engaged in such a way that opens me up to being curious about what's going on and building relationship and seeing the other person as